Right, it's Misha Brian Ridúchas déanacht na Hirond, agus bevralam kaintanish fui eticushk na bhíán. My name is Brian. I am the hereditary king of the Irish nation, and I wish to talk today a little bit about a prevention wing of the military. And I've just been looking at the news on Euronews about the situation in Ukraine, and the situation is getting worse. We have Russian troops massed on the border, we have NATO massing in Poland, and we have people up in arms about the whole situation. And one wonders, what can we do? What is the Irish government doing? The Irish government fought for a seat on the Security Council and now sits on their arses and does nothing. Now, I informed the Irish government as to what they should do at least a month ago. And I informed them of the technology of consciousness. I informed them about the research. Over 20 years ago, I informed them about the research on the technology of consciousness. And they have done nothing. I presented Mr. Simon Coveney with a book on Manual for a Perfect Government in 1998. That's 25 years ago. What do they need more? A war? Is that what they're waiting for? And then they'll say, oh, but we didn't know about the technology of consciousness. They do know about the technology of consciousness. And for those who are not informed, the technology of consciousness is the Transcendental Meditation Program, its advanced techniques, the Siddhi Program, and yogic flying. And that is the technology of consciousness that I refer to. And the technology of consciousness is based, in part, on the Duchess of Ireland. It comes from our own culture, maybe slightly in a different way. The most relevant and prevalent form of it comes from the Vedic civilization of India. But I have, over the last 30 years, been investigating the research in the technology of consciousness and other aspects of Vedic knowledge, and I have found remnants of them in the Gaelic civilization, not as complete yet, but they will be completed if we survive this current onslaught by those warmongering politicians on all sides. I know they don't want war, because a war, this next war, could be catastrophic, not just for Ireland, not just for the planet, but for the whole universe, because we would have lost the one chance that we have of spreading intelligent life or semi-intelligent life. This is our opportunity to prove to the universe that we are worthy of a place among the stars. At present, we are not. You know, we talk about going to Mars. We can't even resolve the difficulties within our own planet. And here we have all the hey to China. Now, what about the Uyghurs? They are not. They are freedom fighters. They're not terrorists. That's only propaganda by Xi Jinping. I'm quite cross right at this moment in time. I'm cross at the Irish government for just sitting on their arses and doing nothing. They have been informed months ago about this technology, and they have done nothing. And I mean, what I would say is, if they can't see the relevance of something like that today, right now, I remember in what year was it? 83 or 84. Dick Spring was Minister for Foreign Affairs at the time. And there was something going on somewhere. There was some conflict going on somewhere. And Dick Spring said everyone must do everything to prevent this conflict from kicking off. And it didn't, of course. No one did anything. Now, what we need is someone to say everyone must do everything and actually mean it. I mean, I would call on our Commander-in-Chief of the Defence Forces to actually do something. If the Commander-in-Chief of the Defence Forces read the document that I sent to him recently and said, yes, I don't fully understand this, but the research seems sound. Let's at the very, very least, set up a presidential commission into the technology of consciousness. That would have a major effect on the potential for war in Ukraine. You might wonder how that would work. It works through the field effect. It works through the flow of information. Yes, Ireland is starting to look at this. Therefore, there must be something in it. Hold on your horses. Pull back the brakes and we'll see what the outcome from Ireland is. You know, Ireland says, oh, we have a peace process, the envy of the world. The peace process is a waste of time. You know, we want to be very careful in this country in relation to border polls and Brexit and this and that and the other. The peace process is a shambles. Just because there hasn't been any major violence in the last whatever number of years does not mean that it will not return. And I have a poem about that, which I will give you and then finish up. Yeah, here we are. And this is dedicated to myself, aged 14. Excuse me. We too have known the grief. Now I must return in mind to that night standing after Sunday Mass, a churchyard thick with people whispering about the latest bomb to go off in Belfast. I was alone and no one spoke to me, consoled me, for I needed it. Why did no one bother to explain the grief, the unbelief caused by their death? It was then that I became personally involved and remain so. For it is not solved, although more than 30 years have passed since the night my sight was lifted and I stood alone, questioning. And when the youth of today find out that the Irish government have sat on their hands, not only will they be kicked out of office, but their pensions will be taken off them. And by this I mean Rialtas na hÉireann, not just the government, but the civil servants. The civil servants are sitting on their hands and doing nothing. Neabhach. Nothing. Neabhachish. Nothingness. From nothingness comes totality. From fullness comes fullness. Purnam ada, purnam idam. O Géad go Géad. From 100 to 100. Just a little bit of the mixed knowledge that we possess in our university, Ollsgoil Fíoraeolaise. And remember, be there on the 1st of May 2022, down at the most westerly point of the Eurasian continent, where we promise a celebration. Or don't be there. Tune in to us on the World Wide Web, where we will be broadcasting globally. Sinead, good mahagat agus slán.